All right, Zero, let me sit down real quick.
Okay, so the whole point of using EO at a top level for F2L, or even like in a general sense, is instead of identifying the edge first and then the corner, you identify the EO of the edge first. So I want you to look at these two pairs, okay? So if you look, they look like a mirror of each other, but if you identify which edge is good, which edge is bad, that tells you when you need to rotate. So watch that ZZ tutorial, and then I want you to look at these two cases because they look like the same. You know what I mean? But if you look, this edge is good, this edge is bad. So just by looking at these two, I know that with this case, I don't have to rotate, but with this case, I do have to rotate. And right then, that is the first thing that I do. And remember how I told you I don't use fancy solutions? So I know, I look at this edge, and then I look at the corner, and I know the case, and then I know you can solve it without doing any F moves or without any rotations. But for this, I identify this first, and I immediately know I have to rotate. So I identify the case, and then I rotate, and then solve it like that. Okay? And that's like an easy case, but I want to show you these two now. So you see how these look like exactly the same? However, this is a good edge, this is a bad edge. And you would do the same exact thing where this is like a more intricate solution, but for this one, you can solve it without a rotation. And that was, oh my God, let me see. I can't do the solution again, but you kind of saw like what I did basically. I could probably set it up. Let me see if I can set this up. Oh, yeah, you know, okay, here. But yeah, so that's what I realized. You can just do that. Whereas this one, it's literally the same case, but this is a bad edge, so I know that I have to rotate. So you literally just rotate and do that. But you use EO as a guide to let you go through F2L. So imagine you're solving, let me see, here, I'll just, so, okay. So we have this case right here. So I'm here. There we go. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, now we have a bad edge. So let's say this is your first pair. This green and orange and this. And this is a bad edge. So I know I'm going to rotate. But I noticed that this is also a bad edge. So I have to rotate for this too. So if you look at that tutorial in ZZ, you're not going to rotate at all. But for CFOP, watch this. I do a rotation. And now both of these edges are good. I no longer have to rotate for either of them. And I know this in my mind for every solve that I do. And that's how you use EO to trace, because you identify the EO of the pieces. You don't need to pay attention to EO for the yellow until like you get top level. I have to do this because I don't know dot OLs, but here, let's follow this case. So you have these two first and no rotations. You solve that in the back. And then you can use EO to track where here you have this edge. So you look at the corner and it's here. And then you solve that. So here, let's go through another example. Okay, so here's a case where there's an edge trapped and then we have two bad edges. So with this isn't a case where you rotate to figure this out. This is where you just have to deal with the shit cases. This is actually the one that you brought up to me where that I asked for an example I couldn't understand. With this case, I see that this is bad, both of these are bad, and I see that this corner's over here. So I'm tracking this corner while I solve this with like a look ahead. So you solve that, and I know that after I solve that pair, this is going to come back here already, and you do that. Here's where you can have another decision though, because when you do this, there's different ways to bring this out. If you insert this bad edge, and you see how you have this one that's bad still, you can insert that and then rotate and then insert like that, and now you have a cross on top. That's just some last slot theory that you can do. Let me see. Let's see if we can do one more for you. Okay, so here's another one. So here we have a bad edge, and then we have a good edge here. So I know that I'm going to solve this one into the back left when I rotate, and then this one, I'm probably going to have to rotate again. So I'm throwing this out there. I'm not really thinking about this too much. Actually, here, let's solve this pair first because it is a good edge, and then we'll rotate for this one. So we'll solve that, and we'll insert, and look, See how this is bad? So we're going to have to rotate. So you could either rotate. This is where mid-solve, you want to rotate to put it in the back left. But because this is your final slot, you want to rotate to put it in the front right. And you solve like that. That is the general idea of how you use EO to kind of flow through your F2L. But you identify the EO, and that's when you know when you have to rotate. So here, I will just do a random solve real quick. Okay, so okay, so let's see what we got. So right now I see this, and well, we'll just go off this. So this is bad, so I know I'm going to rotate. So I'm going to rotate for the optimal solution, because you could rotate like this, but see how that clogs up the right slot? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate and put that into the back, and I'm going to see what else I have. So I don't have anything here, but I have this solved edge. So I'm going to assume this is all the blue and orange pair, and this is the green, orange, and white pair. So I know that corner's in the back. This is deducing, because basically you're looking for this at the corner that goes along with this. So here, look. You do U moves, it's not here, the edge isn't here or here, so it must be in this back slot. I don't know how to solve this right off, like with this corner, so I'm just going to bring it up, and now look what we have. And then I'm going to solve this with keyhole, and it sets up this free pair. But look, I don't even see this as a free pair. I see this as a bad edge, and then I identify the corner. So all I do really is I see this is a bad edge, and I know I'm going to rotate. So it's more about learn how to rotate optimally, because again, you don't want to rotate and be solving back slots. You want to rotate and be solving front slots like that. And the last one, you find the edge. This is another bad edge. So I know I'm going to have to rotate again, but now it's how do you rotate optimally to set up this case? Because you could rotate and do that, but you could also set it up now where you do that. See what I mean? And then you rotate, and that's how you do that. But there you go. Let me know if you have any questions.